I might not be doing another Saphnelo infusion. Let's talk about it. So I've noticed a few adverse side effects, and they're pretty severe enough that my next infusion is November 7th. I called the nurse at the infusion suite, and she basically told me that they needed to get me in before my next infusion to discuss everything that was going on with the rheumatologist. And that's on the 3rd, so in 2 days. Basically, there's a couple things going on that are impossible to ignore and really too severe for me to, I think, continue taking this medication. So the first thing is mood, and I noticed this with the Benlysta, and since Benlysta and Saphnelo are both monoclonal antibodies, but they work a little bit differently. Like Benlysta targets B cells specifically, I believe, and Saphnelo targets a different part of the immune system. This is like my best understanding of how these two drugs are similar but different. I was hoping that I would not have a similar reaction, adverse reaction, when it comes to mood with Saphnelo that I did with Benlysta, but unfortunately that's exactly what happened. I started getting extremely irritable, and then I started getting depression, and the irritability was so intense. Like, I have not been pleasant to be around. I had actually recorded some Saphnelo updates for you guys, and I just couldn't post them because I noticed I was like really irritable, and you could really feel that in the video, and it wasn't pleasant. And one that I posted and I left up for a little bit, and then I was like, ugh, this is terrible. I'm just too irritable. And so I wanted to keep you guys posted weekly, but it just, given the side effects I was dealing with, it just wasn't realistic. It wouldn't have been a pleasant video, you guys, trust me. And if any of you saw the one that I had on here for a hot minute, it wasn't any good. So there's a couple other things I've noticed too. Trouble with focus and concentration. So other than this really intense irritability, and I was starting to get depression, I was having a lot of trouble focusing, and just, I felt like, I don't even know how to explain it, like emotionally trapped in my head, and I couldn't focus on anything. And everything felt like so much more than it was. It was just, couldn't get anything done for this reason. It was, God, it was really rough. And what bothers me about this is that I just experience a lot of similar symptoms to the side effects of Benlysta, but Benlysta worked a lot better for my lupus, to be perfectly honest. So I don't know. I mean, those were bad enough though. The next thing that happened was I actually started having numbness and tingling in both my legs, but it was happening constantly, like hours, days on end. And usually I do have problems with my legs from the lupus. I'll have like weakness, like muscle weakness in my legs, or sometimes numbness, but it lasts a short time and goes away. It's very like intermittent. No, this was becoming constant. So that's another thing that just really freaked me out. I was just starting to get nervous. Like, is this a circulation issue? It really, it was unpleasant. It was just really unpleasant. The other thing was the insomnia, which in itself wasn't a deal breaker, but in combination with all these other very unpleasant side effects, it just definitely was a no for me. So I don't think that I'm going to be able to continue this medication. And to be honest, I don't know what that means for me. I really hope that I don't have to resort to drugs like Rituxan or Cytoxan, honestly, because they just scare me. I know some people take them and they're fine. The other thing, I did call AstraZeneca because here's another thing. I was having some very strange skin rashes. And it was like circular patches on my face that were, my skin was peeling off. Like layers of my skin was peeling off. It was really strange. Not pleasant, especially because it was on my face. Like this could have been anywhere else, but why my face? I also asked AstraZeneca if they plan on rolling out a home injection, or like, you know how Benlysta has the auto injector. And they said no, they don't have any plans of rolling out any kind of home injection, and to check back with them next year. So I thought you guys just might like to know that. I have talked to some people that are on Saphnelo and they have really good success with it and they don't have any problems. But I'm like in that small percentage of people that usually gets the lesser common side effects, unfortunately. So this could just be me. And Saphnelo could work really well for you. And if it does, that's awesome. But I don't think this is going to work out for me, guys. The other thing, I did call AstraZeneca when these skin rashes started happening, just because it was easier to get them on the phone than my rheumatologist. And they basically told me that they did not test this drug for safety in terms of if it causes cancer in the long or short term, which I found really alarming. And they also did not do any kind of testing in the clinical trials to see if Saphnelo interacts with any other drugs. So I thought that was pretty crazy because most of us with lupus were on a number of other drugs, and this seems really negligent on the part of the Food and Drug Administration. I'm sorry, that's crazy to me. And we kind of hope that we can trust the FDA when they come out with these new drugs, especially these new lupus drugs, and I just do your own research because, nobody told me this. The rheumatologist didn't tell, no one told me this. So I don't really, I'm not too happy about that. It kind of makes me feel like a human guinea pig for this pharmaceutical company. And I did not consent to being AstraZeneca's guinea pig. So basically, this is where I'm at. I'm still working on my citizenship in the European Union. Of course, it's not exactly cheap to hire an attorney to do what needs to be done to make the citizenship happen, especially in a timely manner. So me and my family are saving for that. It is a good couple $1,000s, I'm not going to lie. And I'm really, really hoping to go to Europe and get mesenchymal stem cells. That's what I'm looking at right now. I'm hearing a lot of mixed information about this as far as how effective it is. I mean, also you want to make sure that it's safe. But I know a number of countries are doing it. You have to leave the country to do this. You could, I guess, get this done. I believe Texas is the only state in the U.S. that is doing anything with stem cells, but it's very expensive. Insurance, of course, doesn't cover it, and healthcare here is astronomically expensive. So really, you have to leave the United States to get stem cells for treatment of like fibromyalgia or any of these autoimmune diseases, especially MS, lupus. But that's the next step for me. And I'm a little bit concerned that, I'm going to keep putting these toxic immune suppressant agents in my body for no good reason. And there's consequences to taking these medications. Like, when I took Benlysta, up to that point, I never had a problem with my scalp ever in my life. And ever since being on Benlysta, I've dealt with seborrheic dermatitis in varying degrees of severity. I mean, never, ever had a problem with my scalp. Ever. Not one little speck of flake of dandruff, never. So I just, really, these medications do have consequences, these cytotoxic or immune suppressant agents, and it scares me, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we have to take them. You don't want to have organ damage, but it is scary. So that's it, you guys. I will let you guys know what happens after this appointment with the rheumatologist and how they want to proceed. But I don't think, after my experience with Saphnelo, that I can sanely continue with the medication and the skin rashes and what was happening with my legs. Really strange, very unpleasant. I don't think I can do it. I just also wanted to mention that I think with this disease, you really have to find your faith, whatever that means for you. But this disease will try you. It will try your patience. If you do have faith, it will try your faith, whatever that means to you. It can be so difficult to try to stay positive and optimistic when you keep trying different things and situations like this continue to happen. And a lot of us go through this numerous times for years on end before we find the medication or the solution, I'll say, that finally works for our level of disease activity. But if you're frustrated and you're watching this right now, you have to keep going. This does get better. Don't ever give up. Life is definitely worth living, and it will get better for you. I'll keep you guys updated, and thank you for all your likes and views and support and subscribing. It's really very much appreciated, and it helps me keep this channel going. All right, stay strong, guys.